My name is Ashley, and this is Let's Talk Dispatch.
I do. You're gonna do it. Do it really well.
And I believe the world needs more dispatchers.
Around in the mud, blood, and beer.
Years that I'm not working 4th of July. 4th of July.
Hey, community policing, right? What about community dispatch?
So on this show, with the help of my guests, we will educate, empower, and support the heroes behind the headset.
Right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode here on Let's Talk Dispatch with me, Ashley, the Raspy Dispatcher. Hope you all are doing wonderful. I've been spending the last months, really, but specifically the last month, really fine-tuning my first ever keynote speech. And I was really adding a bunch of stuff last night and going over it with my fiance. And I am so excited about it. I'm not going to lie. And I don't want to give too many spoilers, but it's just the idea that, we in dispatch in 911 need to continue to tell our story, need to tell the world and the everyday citizen who utilizes our services when they least expect it. The realities of this job and the things that we deal with is so real, so relevant. And, you don't have to have some big story or traumatic call or big incident. Just doing this job daily fills up our bag. So just be aware of those things and know that telling your story doesn't have to be a big thing. It can just simply be telling your story. And we need to tell the world what it is that we are doing as 911 dispatchers in our communities daily. And that's my soapbox for the start of this podcast. But we're going to get into our sponsors real quick before we get going. So let's take a listen. Today's episode of Let's Talk Dispatch is proudly sponsored by Prepared. Their mission is to be public safety's most assistive technology. Revolutionizing how we handle emergencies, Prepared is dedicated to saving more lives and making our communities safer. Learn more about how Prepared is transforming emergency response at prepared911.com. Our next sponsor is Zybex Media. Since 2020, Zybex has been creating impactful recruitment films for their customers. Zybex Media offers their expertise, providing a full range of media solutions designed to attract and retain talent for all PSAPs. Visit zybex.com/media to learn more. These partnerships help us continue to spread the message that the world needs more dispatchers. Interested in partnering with us? Head to theraspydispatcher.com. Definitely make sure to take some time to check out our sponsors. They do help us continue to be able to go to conferences, spread this message, and honestly, they're just doing great work in general. So check them out whenever you can. So for our guest today on today's podcast, they're going to be a familiar face with a familiar story from a slightly different angle. We all know that staffing in 911 is a problem. It's centers are reporting up to 70% vacancies. Folks are being mandated. And at the end of the day, someone needs to be in these seats at all time answering 911. And the reality is, it's a hard job to get people to do, let alone to do when we are understaffed. So back on the show today is Jenn talking about a new company who has answers for this problem, GetResQ911. My guest today, Jenn.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Jenn.
Yes. Hi. So happy to be here again. Thank you. Thank you for letting us talk about the change that 911 needs and is looking at. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Coming back on. I was telling everyone, if you've listened to the show, you're probably familiar with Jenn. She came on not too long ago. I want to say a month, maybe 2 months ago.
I know, and it feels like a whirlwind in just that short time. It feels like everything's just crazy. It's a dream come true for people. Yeah.
And what I love about it is that, during our conversation on the previous episode, you were so passionate about this new way of helping centers with staffing, which we'll get into,
Yeah.
but you're so passionate about it and wanting
Yeah.
to find the right way to do it and, really get relief into these centers and
Yeah.
offer a different way of dispatching for folks who are interested in it. And you've linked up with Rescue 911.
I have, yeah.
And,
Because it takes a village. I mean, one person can make a change, but in our industry, we've been hiding in the darkness for 10 years,
Mhm.
so it takes a village to really get out there and spread the message that we care. We care about each other. We care about each other's mental health, your careers. We care about your centers, and your people. We're all out here struggling together. So anything we can do to help that struggle be a little less is an honor to all of us that are out here on the street.
Heck yeah. Well, for
Yeah.
those who didn't catch the first episode with you on it, let's reintroduce yourself. Tell us a little about you and how you got into 911.
So this morning I was thinking of this question again because, of course, yeah, I have been on before. And how did I get here? How am I sitting in Wenatchee, Washington? Um, it's been awesome. It doesn't get any better. I started my career in a very small center where I was a girl that was different. I was from a different town. I was, from upper East Coast, and I was living in North Carolina. I learned I wanted to be so much more in this industry, and because we always did it this way was not working for me. I wanted to be the change, make the change, and it really was an old boys club, and I believed the calls were getting more, the populations were rising, the call volume was increasing, but this people in the seats weren't changing. The tasks of the job weren't changing. And as retirees have started to fold out of these careers, there was a long time that the old boys club did exist, and I wasn't going to let it in my world. I wasn't going to. But we have such a vital role. Nobody can do the job on the street without us behind the headset, all of us in the dark. But most importantly, there were people along the way that taught me how to do it and how to be successful in this industry. And I kept pounding the pavement, blood, sweat, and tears, because I believed in it.
Mm.
And I believed that we were going to make a change, all of us, all the social media platforms, all the talks we're having about mental health. You have to be the change to see the change,
Mhm.
for sure.
I can definitely relate to, this idea that we're slow to change in law enforcement,
Hmm.
in dispatch, in
Yep.
911, because it's true. And I think when you said like call volumes changed, our populations changed, our technology changed, all of
Oh,
the things around us in 911 emergency services, from going out into the field into our centers and that have changed. But we as an industry have been so stagnant that
yeah. Yeah.
problems this has created problems for our staffing. I think it's something that plays into our staffing nowadays, this idea that we've been so slow to change.
Yeah. And we've spent so much time eating our young.
Mm.
I talked about this on my first one. I believe that I want a vacation. I like my time off.
Like,
So
yeah.
these newbies that are coming in, we need to embrace them, and we need to support them, and we need to lift them up in this industry to tell them about the good things. Like you said, tell your story. It's not all been bad.
Yeah.
It's been so rewarding, and it's just been such an honor to come up the ranks the past year in this industry and watch the change and be a part of the change.
Mhm.
Truthfully, yeah.
Yeah, and what one thing I do love about, my seat on my platform is I get to witness so much
Every
change,
day,
right?
every
Like,
day.
I mean, even with you and your growth and your story and your traveling
Yeah,
dispatch is your thing, right? Like,
yeah,
that's how
it's
I
my jam.
recognize you, like, you're
Yeah,
passionate about it, you believe this is an answer for centers, and I got to meet you a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and saw where you were, and now 2 months of growth, like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
got to witness that, and I get to witness that with so many different dispatchers and so many different ways, how they're choosing take what they're passionate about and pour it back out into this industry,
Yeah,
into the everyday world. And it's so fun to watch. And it really
and it
is.
is.
Find your thing and like
And
blow it
stick
up.
with
You
it.
know?
Blow
Yeah.
it up. Yeah, find your people, find your support system. I can't speak. My team with GetResQ911 has been incredible since the first day I made the meet and learned the the mission and what they were looking at and what we all wanted to do and the change that we wanted to become. It
Mhm.
it was it was an honor. There was no doubt in my mind that I was going to help pave the way in doing this and making it work because it's so needed. It's such a needed relief to our people is without fail needed.
Yeah. So for those who are not familiar with kind of traveling dispatchers or the format that Rescue 911 is putting out there to help relieve these centers, tell us a little bit about that and how they're utilizing traveling dispatchers.
So every center's utilize them a little differently. We've learned that as we've come up because it's new. Everything about what we're doing is new, but we're really getting in these centers and hopefully learning the way that they operate, the way they conduct business, the way they um, conduct radio traffic. Everybody does it a little different. Here on the West Coast, I'm an East Coast girl. I had to learn about wildfires.
Oh yeah.
That's
It's
a
hot out
real
here, you know?
everything's burning on this West Coast here right now from Oregon to Washington. And so it's just been an amazing experience. We try to get relief in the chairs. We try to put people in places that they can educate themselves both in geography, your systems, your policies, procedures, SOPs, and we try to escalate that process. We try to do it in a much quicker process than it happens for somebody, say, new to the industry, new to 911, because we have the experience. Is it different everywhere? Is it challenging? Yes, absolutely. It it but it's so much fun. It's so much fun to just be able to see what we can do and let these people have their time off and spend time with their families, go to weddings, go to events with their families because we're sitting in the seat for them.
Mhm.
And just awesome. It's just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I was having this conversation with some coworkers the other day, and we were talking about being mandated. And I talk about this quite often. I am a unicorn in dispatch. I have very rarely been mandated in my career because at the time, working at my large agency, we were pretty much fully staffed. When I left that
I bet.
agency, they had a huge shift and they're now been working completely understaffed for that whole time. But I've been matrixing manual mode and matrixing mandated for most of my career. I like under 5 times, like really weird. And
You are a unicorn
a
for sure.
unicorn, and I acknowledge that and I appreciate it. And
Oh,
but
absolutely.
I also like the idea of not being able to go do what I want to do in my personal time is scary. Like
Mhm.
I if that happened, I'm down to do it. And I know that's a reality in our line of work. But if that was my reality every week,
Every day,
every
every day,
day,
every week.
like worked in 40 out, like I would be
Yeah.
miserable. I would,
Yeah.
and so like the fact that we're trying to relieve this problem in centers, like it's so real, it's so needed, and I know
Oh,
it's appreciated. Like it has to
uh,
be.
and the centers that we've come to, they've been so welcoming. They know
Mhm.
it's going to be an adjustment for them to have new people that know how to do the job, but don't know how to do it the way they do and the way that they've been trained or are training their laterals and people. So, we rely a lot on them as well to be
Mhm.
there, but we like to put people and, we're never alone. Yes, we're filling
Mhm.
holes and we're providing, we're providing that. But these centers, there's always their people and they're so happy that we're there. They're so honored to be a part of something new, something that's never been done before.
And so I feel like for the dispatcher listening who's going, "Well, I don't know what the heck they're talking about. How can
Right,
I could
right.
never just be plopped out of my center and plopped into another one." Like, what what does that kinda look like for I mean, this is
Ah,
obviously for the seasoned dispatcher. This isn't for someone who's just getting
yes.
off training,
No,
this is
no,
for the seasoned dispatcher.
you have to have some thick skin. It's not easy,
Mm,
at all, but it's worth it. It's hectic, it's stressful, um, but we're doing a job in communities with fellow headset heroes,
mm,
and we're still doing what we're all passionate about, and that's helping people. We don't do this job, uh, most of us do this job because for the love of it, because we love it. We love helping people, and it's the way that we've found we're good at doing that. We're good at being able to help the community, help fire departments, EMS, law enforcement, all of them as a whole. You get to learn how new centers operate. It's amazing opportunity to see those agencies, policies, procedures, how they do things. Because, like I said, from the east to the west coast, things are different. Centers are unionized,
mm.
um, so you get to learn every aspect of it, and state to state. And some centers utilize their dispatchers very differently, which gives you a
Mhm.
chance to see, they utilize them in different aspects, and their responsibilities are different. And I've learned the tasks they perform. It's amazing, and you get to see everything new. You get to learn something new every single day. Every day, I learn something new. Geography, cool place to eat, all the things. Having fun doing it.
Yeah. So I mean, you're a traveling dispatcher. That's what you're
Yeah,
doing. You're in it. You've lived it. You felt it. You do it.
yeah,
What
I
is your
do.
favorite part about it?
Um, Geography, seeing
Mhm.
new places, meeting our fellows, and going into these centers, meeting other people, hearing their experiences, um, dining in new places, learning about all the things these communities have to offer, really digging in because it's not easy. We're away from our families, we're away from our homes, our pets. I'm fortunate enough, I have a roommate here that brought her dog along with her. So, I have her fur baby, but we leave that all behind. So we have to really put our feet in the community and really get involved in something. Most recently, I heard in my community there's a horse ranch for special needs kids, and do those volunteering things and get yourself out there and really get yourself in the community to learn about it and learn what that has to offer.
Very cool. So
Y-
cool. And so
Yeah.
for the person who's like listening to this, considering it, what does it kind of look like for they go on, they apply, and it all works out? What does the typical process kind of look
So
like?
we try to fit you to where you're comfortable, because a lot of centers don't do all disciplines.
Mm,
Um, some centers do one, the other, both, two, three. So really, it's getting the right people in the right places,
mm,
and you know, finding where some people want to be closer to home, and finding that family life balance along with traveling.
mm,
Because we want to offer these centers consistency, and we want to offer them our time,
mm,
you know, in chunks of time. We don't want to
mm,
go in there and have them train us and bring us up to speed only to leave again.
mm,
So it's finding that place in the community that you're going to. I fortunate again, I found a beautiful place here where I am. It's close to the center. Um, and I am familiar with all three disciplines.
mm,
My focus has always been fire and EMS, but I am law enforcement. So it's finding those right fits in those centers and
mm,
knowing sometimes maybe it's not. Maybe we have to make changes within our company and make changes to the process of onboarding. We're learning every day. Again,
mm.
it's new. We're learning with each other, what training looks like, what onboarding looks like. So it's forever changing, like the industry.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And I think it's important for folks to understand, this is just my 2 cents, but witnessing this idea of traveling dispatch grow over the course of 6 months,
Yeah.
that you are gonna be diving into something that is new. Like,
Yeah.
you are gonna be a part of building this reality, and
Yeah.
that is real, and you wanna be a part of something where folks are receptive to feedback and
Exactly.
folks
Exactly.
are understanding that we're not always going to get it right and we're going to hear that and we're going to be able to work with the people, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
Working alongside of them and helping give them the time off they deserve for their own mental health and their own, families and friends. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah. But the
Well,
geography is the toughest part, let me tell you. But in like
mm,
911 as a whole, you can't decide your abilities as a 911 dispatcher. I don't care if you're brand new in your first days, weeks, months, years. And as the
mm,
industry changes, your abilities to do the job have to roll with the punches as well.
mhm.
Um, because some days, day to day, are feats. But it's an honor to watch something become such an amazing experience. It
Yeah.
really is.
And obviously it's going to look different for each center and their needs and
Hmm.
what they're needing from, Rescue 911 and their traveling dispatchers, but is there a certain like a minimum amount of time folks are away on travel? Is there a max amount of time? Is there
So, so my first contract in Oregon wasn't with Get Rescue 911. It was kind of a self contract with the dispatch center itself. I was there 8 months,
Mm,
but you're allotted time off as well. They realize that we have to go back to our families and go home and tend to things. The contract I'm looking at now is 9 months.
mm,
So it's the consistency of having
mm.
someone in your center. I'll be allotted my time off to go to see my daughter and my family, but it's knowing that we're just like them. We
Mm,
integrate ourselves into their system on their schedules. We hold a schedule just like them. We work the hours. We do the overtime just like you would as well. So we conform to your center and your needs.
interesting. So it's for you guys. It sounds like at least 6 months to a year, depending on
Oh yeah.
the center's
To have
needs.
the
So it's
consist
a longer
Yeah.
stint. Hmm.
Yeah, because if we're in there a short amount of time, you put forth so much in training. There's so much that, like we've talked about already, centers are different everywhere and they have different rules, different regulations. So it's learning those rules and regulations,
Hmm.
letting them from your ears to your fingers
Hmm.
become your new day-to-day norm. Um,
Mhm.
so the consistency of doing that repetitive motion we have found um, works better. It's a better look. You're
Right.
in these centers, you're learning every day, you're holding the schedule just right like them, you're alongside of them, you're hearing the calls day to day. So when you work tomorrow and Bob the drunk guy calls again, you were familiar with his traffic the morning before. So, it's getting in these centers and really diving in head first and becoming a part of them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And one thing that I'm realizing as we're working through this is I have a heavy focus on like we need more dispatches. We need traveling dispatches. Like if this sounds like your cup of tea, like check out,
Yeah,
Rescue
check
911
us out. And
and apply.
we're
But
all an
also,
open book.
yeah, but
Yeah,
also if you're a center and you're listening to this going, what the heck? Like we can bring traveling dispatchers in.
mhm,
Yeah, you
yeah,
can. This is an
you
option
can,
for
you
the agency too?
yeah, yeah, we have a beautiful, we think, we have a beautiful team. We've got some of the most professional dispatchers that I've had the honor of working with in my career. I am just every day more astounded, more honored. We as a new look. We do things as a company. We have like happy hour, live stream happy hour, and we're gonna put forth a book club. So we try to keep ourselves really integrated and taking care of ourselves as well out here on the road in all the centers, because we're all over the place. We're just popping up in a town near you, and it's fabulous.
Well,
Um,
and I guess we didn't really introduce the company, which, let's
I mean,
maybe talk a little bit about that. I'm like, this is my friend Jen. You guys are just joining my convo. The company is GetResQ911, and I believe the website, if
yeah,
I got it off the top of my head, is GetResQ911.com.
911.
Um, Tell us a little bit about the company as a whole, kind of the roots, where it started,
So
who started it.
So it started by Dispatcher herself, the founder, Dispatcher with 22 plus years experience behind the console. And she had a vision, and she thought, how can I help these centers? And she's got family and friends that have worked in the travel nursing platform. And she really did some digging and is in centers with her current position. So she's in centers all day, every day. She's a phone gal, but she spent the time to really know what was needed and really look at it and look how we could do it productively. Because PSAPs are experiencing understaffing. Does period. There's not, you're a unicorn, but it's
Weird.
not happening. And
Weird.
yeah, it's so weird. But the system, it's the public safety system as a whole across the nation needs more dispatchers. And that's because the world deserves it, because these communities deserve it. Our law enforcement officers deserve it. So the Get Rescue team believes that we're trailblazing. We're providing top-notch contract emergency telecommunicators. We're providing centers the break they deserve, the mental health break, the time off break, and the respect for their lives. That's truly our mission, is to, you have a pivotal role in supporting agencies that are in urgent need for expertise. They really are. This role offers you flexibility because, again, we get to see beautiful things and still be integrated into a schedule with these centers and providing those extra people that allow it. So yeah, competitive compensation is really nice too. So it gives you to work with a passionate team and dedicated professionals who, we really, like I said, as a group, our founder is absolutely wonderful, receptive. It's been just a whole community of dispatchers coming together to figure out how we can do this productively in the right way.
I do love, and I think it's super important for folks to know that this is, for us, by us type of thing.
Yeah,
It's created by a dispatcher. It's, from a place of knowledge and, understanding. And it's not, someone coming in trying to, I think about like software companies are like, this is great. And you're like, this does not work for the way we
it doesn't work.
our job. Like in
Exactly.
theory, this is wonderful, but like, put into action, it's a struggle. So,
and having that open line of having an open line of communication with somebody who knows the pain, knows what you're going through, has just been absolutely just wonderful to have a team that hears you. Founders, like I said, you can call day or night, you can call each other, you can call them and say, we need to talk, and they're there for you. The support and just the love is incredible.
Yeah, I think this is it's an important question for folks to ask, because you are traveling, you are essentially remote, air quotes, with your actual company, but you're in the center, but remote with your company. You're not going and hanging out with the folks who are employing you. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
So
Although we will someday. We are going to resort, and we're going to invite you, Raspy. We're
oh
going to
my
have you
gosh,
there
heck
for
yeah, I'll
that.
be out there. My tie and
Yeah,
all.
exactly, exactly. So a lot of us, we haven't met each other face to face.
Yeah.
We're supporting each other through, text messages and having a bad day and
Mhm.
getting their feedback and getting their own experiences and well, maybe we should try this approach or that approach. And it just it works. It's really working and we're seeing the results of it working every day and it's a commitment. It's a
Mhm.
commitment to the industry. It's a commitment to Get Rescue 911 because, again, it's not easy, but
Mhm.
it's worth it.
Yeah.
Every day, worth it.
Yeah, I love the idea that you're creating these virtual social spaces,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
your folks to connect, book clubs and, just check-ins and happy hours, etc. Like that's wonderful, especially when,
Yeah.
you're in a new place, you're getting acclimated to this traveling dispatch situation. Um, so I think that's awesome. I think that's such a unique thing you guys are doing.
And, people are so different. Like me, I know it's hard to believe, but I'm very social. So, I come into these communities and I find places to go. We have a beautiful bookstore here. We have, places, and you kind of get to know your people in the community again. Um, yeah, and so you can talk to each other about it. Hey, have you found a new place in your, where do you go hang out or what do you go
Mhm.
do or where do you find your extra time being spent and having that community between us to talk about those things is priceless.
Awesome. And I don't know if you know the ins and outs of this, but in regards to, compensation, overtime, things of that nature, are you kind of being thrust into the pay scale that's going on at the center, or are you getting a certain salary through Rescue 911 and then you're like overtime looks different, like kind of like what
So,
does that look like?
yeah. So Rescue 911 takes care of all the accounting. We're paid directly by Rescue 911, and they work out with the center.
Okay.
So the center pays them directly, and then they pay us. Overtime, w- it's we definitely do it. We
Mhm.
definitely participate in it, but it's all center based. So
Okay.
that's a discussion between them and us. But as contractors, we're compensated for
Mhm.
our time on the job. We're compensated for housing. We get a flat rate depending on where you are, because some
Mhm.
places are more expensive. We're looking more on the West Coast for some
We're sorry.
contracts on the West Coast.
We're
Sorry, she said.
we're we're expensive out here.
Yeah. So so going out on the West Coast, the contract may look a little different, but again, Rescue 911 takes care of all that for us, which is just been a lifesaver. It really has.
Mhm.
We do hold a little bit of liability ourselves as LLCs because we are traveling and we are, using our personal vehicles. Myself, I drove out here from the East Coast
Mhm.
months ago when I took my first contract, and I've continued to stay out here on
Mhm.
this coast. So those contracts are in forms of stipends for housing and all that. So yeah, it makes it easy. It makes us
Yeah.
just we arrive, we find a place. I found my place on Furnish Finder. Not a plug for them, but I found a place, you know, in a home with other roommates, other travelers. I have two. She's a traveling nurse and she's a medical resident, and
Mhm.
so finding again those communities and having that so you have your time away from what dispatch looks like from
Yeah.
each other. You have your downtime as well to recuperate, and
Mhm.
so it's very nice.
I do like the idea of like you're only dealing with Get Rescue. Like obviously you're working for insert agency name here,
Uh-huh.
but you're reporting your hours, you're reporting your stuff to Rescue, and they're dealing with all the
Yeah, they
nitty-gritty
do.
on the back end. That's
They're
so
smarter
nice,
than me.
'cause when there's, too many cooks in the kitchen, and then you're like, "But wait, this, that." So it's nice that you're reporting your time, your benefits, all that stuff through the
Yeah,
company that's employing you. So that's good. That's good.
yeah,
Cleans it up a little
yeah.
bit.
It does. It makes it so much easier because looking at it, my last podcast, I talked about doing it, kind of myself. And I learned very quickly,
Mhm.
again, you need an army. So they're that army,
Mhm.
they're the front lines, and we are all joined together at the hip to really approach this new look in this new industry.
Yeah. Well, how do people find to get Rescue 911? How do
So
individuals apply? How do centers apply? How does that all look?
So it's the Get Rescue 911. We're on all social media platforms. I know you'll post our
Mhm.
contact information. Um, Go onto our website. We have a interest form that you fill out, both for centers, for individuals. Fill out the interest form, and then we meet and greet. And you have contact to any one of us that's out here in the field. We're welcome to questions, anything you want to do. You can call me, text me, email me. We're open books about what we're doing, how it looks, um, and yeah, just go to the Get Rescue 911 website, fill out your interest, and join us out here. We're having a blast. We really are. We'd love to see your face on our next happy hour.
There you go.
Right,
What?
right.
How long is the process? Say I check all the boxes, I'm a good candidate. I apply. From the moment I apply to getting an assignment, like how long does that typically look?
So right now, I mean, we're hitting the ground running, and right now we've got such an interest and an outpouring of centers that are interested in having us and interested in us, help their center. Right now, it looks pretty promising. We can get people out. Again, it's the industry, and
Mhm.
there's things, but I'd say 60 days tops. And Chris and he could probably correct this at the Get Rescue. But once we get those contracts in order, because it is a process for a center to
Mhm.
get the approval to
Mhm.
have us as well. Directors just nothing's easy. They have to go through their chains of
That's the truth.
commands.
Yeah.
So once the idea is in these centers, we got to get it to the right people at the right tables, and we got to get the right votes on it. And but centers, those people are excited. I know the center we're at right now, their board and the people they meet with, they are just so excited to be the first. They're honestly the
Yeah.
first for us,
Oh my
and
god.
they just are so enthralled with all the work we're doing and how we're doing it. And so it's that time break as well, so getting into centers. But right now we have potential for people to be joining us very quickly. If you're
That's
picking up
great.
what I'm putting down.
Yeah, heck
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it is true. I mean, I know people, when they put the interest out there, this is a big decision for someone to
Yeah,
leave
yeah.
their agency, their home, and try this new thing. And new things are scary. And
Scary.
I just have an understanding that if you're ready, and the turnaround can be
Yeah.
relatively quickly. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, if you're ready. And for a lot of us, we joined this at a point in our life that change was needed, both
Mhm,
personally and professionally.
mhm,
Um and I was at a point, my daughter was old enough. I have a 26, soon to be 26-year-old. It was trusting my abilities as a parent to have raised her correctly that allowed me, you have to have that support system at home as well. You have to
mhm,
have those people in places that support you being gone for extended lengths of time.
mhm.
But new age of technology's made it so easy. I mean,
It's
I talk to
true.
my dogs nightly. We have cameras around the house that I log into. I'm that
Mhm,
mom.
mhm,
But technology's made it easier every day for us to do this and to do these
mhm,
things.
mhm. And I do
So,
love,
yeah.
you're so vibrant, Jen, and like you're speaking about seeing the world,
Oh,
through the lens of a traveling dispatcher in places where we can barely open windows or have windows in our centers. So just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it is something that I'm sure some people are really wanting to do, wanting to travel or wanting to see different places. And
Yeah.
we're not getting sent to Bora Bora, but
No,
there
not
are
yet.
options.
Not
That's right,
yet.
not yet. But there are options to travel and see different coasts and be able to see different places, all
Yeah.
while helping these communities that really, really need it and these dispatchers who really, really need it. And I just think it's
Yeah.
an awesome, awesome vision. It's an awesome template. And I think, again, I told you off air, I've only been hearing great things about
Well, thank
you
you.
folks.
Thank you. We're trying. We really are. And it's new. So people hear about it and they think, what? Wait, did I hear that correctly? Yes, you heard it correctly. We're
Yeah.
out here
The thought of it for
traveling.
me gives me anxiety. Ashley will not be being a travel dispatcher anytime soon.
Right.
But I know that I think everyone can visually see that dispatcher who in your head you can just plop in out of one seat and plop in another, and you're just like,
Yeah.
"I'll be fine," like
Yeah.
you know.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, that'll be
And
fine. Like everything's on fire, and they're just typing at a normal speed. Everything's fine.
exactly. But you learn very quickly, again, and
Mhm,
reverting back, like the process. The
mhm,
process looks different. So plopping that person from one center and taking them and plopping them in another chair, that picture is very different. And it's being
mhm.
able to adapt and overcome, having the confidence as an experienced dispatcher to know you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard, but at the end of the day, what you're doing is priceless. Again, it's just you're helping in an industry that's been forgotten in the dark for too long. If you think about it, only in the last 10 years have dispatchers really taken the forefront and been like, hi,
Yeah.
we're here.
Heck
Like
yeah. Mhm.
everybody
Hey,
loves us.
that's how the raspy dispatcher started. It's a petty. It's just a petty platform. I was like, "You're not talking about us? This is wild. We're gonna create
We're gonna
something
do
that."
it. Yeah,
So it
you're gonna talk
wasn't
about
really an
us.
inspirational start. It was, "I'm mad." And so we're gonna
Yeah, yeah. And that drives me every day because
Mhm.
in those industries 10 years ago, like they were like, "You'll never make it." And I was like, oh, watch
Yeah,
this.
look at
Watch
us
this.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right. Talking to the world. And it's amazing. Raspy, I tell you, I talk to people in Ireland. I talk to people across the pond that are
Yeah.
like, you know, those opportunities, even for people in other places, is real.
Mhm.
Alaska. I mean, if you've ever wanted to be to
Mhm.
Alaska, it might be on our
Yeah.
forefront. So
Yeah.
these are places that are really happening, and such an honor to talk to all these people and get to know my 911 community because I talk to new people every day, every day,
Yeah.
and I love
So
it because
it's so
I don't.
fun, right? It's so
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Well, the question that I ask everybody at the end of the show is, what advice would you give someone who's considering becoming a dispatcher? But specifically for you and the folks listening who are really interested in it, what advice would you give someone who's considering being
Well,
a traveling dispatcher?
we've covered some of it here and there. There's so many resources for us nowadays. There's so many. Social media keeps us all connected as a profession. There's someone in every state that you could call. Everywhere, whether you're traveling or not, there's somebody in a center or on a platform that could be close to you. Call them up, have a cup of coffee, reach out to them. People ask for advice. You see on all those social media platforms, this happened. What would you do? Keep that going. Keep it going.
Mhm.
Keep talking about the difficult things. Keep talking about the interactions that you're having because somebody else might be having that same one, and it could be a connection, could be a friendship forever. I've made
Mhm.
friends and associates out here in the field that will be a part of my story forever. They really will, and you got to combat self-care in the most productive way,
Mhm.
because self-care is truly important. We have to take care of ourselves because if we don't, we can't help the people that we're coming out here to help. We really do. Forming new ways to connect again in those platforms like Skype and all those, talking to your families and doing the happy hours and the things and reaching out. So it looks different and it looks scary, but it's an honor, and it's so much fun. So much fun. I got 2 days off coming up, and of course I'm going to go see something different. I drive around to learn geography. I got to see longhorn sheep, which this girl from these stores has never seen, but in a zoo.
I would start running. I'm like, oh, we're in pursuit. Why is this here?
So, and don't decide your abilities. Like I said, the workings are forever changing. Don't decide with your heart your abilities to do this job in your first days, weeks, months, years. I'm years in, and look how I'm experiencing these great things now. So yeah, forever changing, forever looks different. Just keep rolling with it.
I love it. Well, Jenn, thank you so much again for coming out onto the show. Obviously, we love having you on, and I'm so excited that you and GetResQ911 found each other.
I know, it's just I thank God every day that I found them, and I found them on social media. It was they went out there, they got everything put in places, and they started reaching out to the 911 world. And I said, hey, hi, I'm Jenn. Nice to meet you.
Right in there.
I had an honor to have dinner with them when they were out in Arizona. So I've had an honor of meeting them like you up close and personal, and hearing our story and what we want to do. And yeah, it's just great.
Amazing. Well, again, Jenn, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're going to be seeing more of you soon.
Oh, we'll keep you posted on our journey. And when we get to the private island with Mai Tais, you're invited.
Heck yeah. Show me your route. I'll be right back with you, Jenn.
All right. Bye, everyone.
All right, everybody. Another amazing episode here on Let's Talk Dispatch. Traveling dispatchers is such a new idea. Just like text to 911 was new. Locating services like rapid deploy, AI technology, translating, all of these new ideas are coming into the realm of 911. And the advice that I give to people is try it. Is try it, because we can always change it back, right? When we're talking about software, when we're talking about implementing policies, when you talk about going out and trying to meet a traveling dispatcher, we can always go back to what we were doing before, because we're always hiring in 911. But you never know what is going to work for you, or what you're going to enjoy doing, or if you want to travel. So it's such a new idea. It's so refreshing. And I know it's helping so many centers get that relief that their staff desperately needs. So if you're a center listening to this going, OMG, I've never heard of traveling dispatchers, this is a thing, it is. And GetResQ911 is making a way, figuring out a path to do this successfully in your centers, and they're worth taking a look at. And if you are a dispatcher who still loves what they do, but maybe you're not loving your center right now, or maybe you're needing a change of pace, or want to go travel somewhere new, but still do the job that you love doing and you're good at, maybe being a traveling dispatcher might be for you. Everyone can find their situation, whether you're the center or the dispatcher, by heading to GetResQ911.com. All that information will, of course, be in the description of this episode, but check them out. I truly enjoy them. They're great people. Jenn is awesome. Jenn, thank you again. And until next time, everybody, stay raspy. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Dispatch podcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're interested in becoming a guest on the show, or maybe even submitting your own story, you can do all that and more at theraspydispatcher.com. Until next time, stay raspy.